So, welcome everyone. This is our summer get together, and I'm really leaning into what I want to do in the summer because I really felt like, okay, like summer's for downtime always, but how do you do that? Because I wanted that connection point with you all. So, I've got this early summer call, and then we've got the chat space open so you guys can ask your questions there. Mika's going to be around. So, Mika's my new Substack engagement assistant. She's amazing. She's also a paid member. She's got a really fabulous Substack as well. So she'll be there and you can just use it if things crop up. So rather than us have our Monday thread, which is very rigid, like ask me anything, you can just pop in there anytime something comes to you. And you might have to wait for a reply, but Mika will be along or one of the other members will be along, which is really nice. So yeah, I thought I'd give myself a bit of a break because I've got the book promo all going on. Like today, two guest pieces went out and I was like, oh God, it's all good. It's just very new, to have that much presence is what I'm going to say, but it's all a hologram and not really me. I'm just drinking a tea in my garden at the same time. So we're going to get into celebrating your Substack and also just have the session that if there's anything that you want to ask. In September, we're covering off paid member conversion. So conversion content, charges, prices, how to kind of lay things out for the best chance of success, how to explain Substack to people so they understand what they're signing up for, how to get past people's blocks and in terms of understanding what to pay for, and that balance of if you want to increase your gross annualized revenue, as Substack call it, what you need to maybe kind of adjust and pull back on. So that's going to be September. And we're also going to do like a content planning party for the rest of the year. So we're going to think about what you want to write, what's coming up, what's gone well this year, what you might want to lean into, any roundups that you might want to do, any guest posts that you might want to do. We're just going to have a big old kind of melting pot of all of your different ideas. So that's September. But right here today, we just want to celebrate our Substacks and where we are, and then see if there's anything niggling, like, oh, I didn't quite get to that, and I'm confused about this. I'm here for you. So we've got an hour probably just over if anybody wants to ask more questions, but we can just make it so that it feels like you can learn what it is that you need to learn. So I just want you to head over to your Substacks. And obviously, now that we're mostly here, you can put those in the chat as well. Just copy and paste the URL. And I just want you to have a look at what you've put out, just the whole thing. So I want you to imagine you are the curator of this beautiful magazine, this beautiful publication, this space online, however you want to articulate it, and you're just having a look and you're kind of checking in with yourself on all of the good work that you've done. I want you to feel like, oh, is there anything niggling? Like, I should have adjusted my about page, or I've got this to add in, or maybe I need a new navigation piece here. Maybe the photos have got out of balance, or I need another photo of me. I want to take that, any niggly bits. And we're just going to spend 10 minutes on that. So you guys can have a little look and see what is cropping up for you. I'll put that in the chat so the instructions are really clear. And we're going to spend 10 minutes just having a little look. Okay, so it's in the chat. Taking a look at our Substack publication, we're asking what we're proud of, what niggles we have, ambitions, what we're celebrating, and anything else. So we're just like making notes for now. You don't need to sort of go, oh, I need to change something. I'll go in right now. Just make some notes and I'll do the same, and then we'll come back together. Okay, guys, so hopefully you've spotted a few things that you feel proud of, in celebration of, that you're thinking, oh, I could maybe shift and change that. I should put that there. It would be great to hear from you in the chat about that. I'll tell you what came up for me. And then if anyone does want to, oh, throw my pen, if anyone does want to walk us through where they feel they've got to, that would be so awesome to hear from one of you guys. And obviously, if you've got questions and stuff as well, we'll get into those. But over on Sparkle, I'll share my screen so we're looking at it in real time. Well, I'll just plug the summit first. So it's completely free. We're holding this summit to discover more about authors, writers, wannabe best-selling authors, all the things that make this beautiful blend of having a Substack and being a owner of a book, so a publisher of a book. So I'm not articulating it very well because I'm tired today, but I'm really excited about it. There's going to be some brilliant guests speaking. It's a day-long event. You'll be able to watch the replays. And this Substack just came to me in a vision. It was just like, this is what it's going to be. This is how we're going to deliver it. So I've kept it pretty simple. But I love this new feature where we've got this kind of gradiated background and then this kind of beautiful, vibrant positioning of whatever the image is. So that pleased me today. And then there's plenty of magic through the pages. We've only done a few posts, but we're already at like 680 subscribers, which is wild. I'm so excited. I'd really love to get lots and lots of people together in one place because then they can all meet each other as well. And we've done a lot of work behind the scenes to get the presentations sorted and all of the authors organized and getting all the freebies and the competition elements together. So yeah, free forever. If you wanted to check that out, that is in the chat. I've popped that in the chat for you all. And then with Sparkle, I'm just going to take you back here. So the first thing that I wrote down was there's this little number appeared next to my name, which is like 2 days ago, and I was like, so this is now against my writer profile. So that is clocking up the people who've joined the summit, Sparkle on Substack, which is like 6,200 or something, and then Creatively Conscious. So it's all three of those adding up to 10,000, which is just wild. But I'm very, very grateful for that because it means something. There's been a journey that I've gone on. It means there's more people staying than leaving, which is nice. And it means that I am, truly being a multi-hyphen here. I've got a summit page gone up, I've got Sparkle on Substack, I've got Creatively Conscious, which I really fiercely wanted to hold on to, so that felt really important to have that writerly voice there. So that was a celebration, having a new Substack and being brave enough to be like, this summit is going to be on its own Substack and who knows after that, but that's where it's going to live. That felt brave and exciting. The paid subscriber notes that I've had from the community have been gorgeous. And the recommendations that have come through as well. Obviously, I always speak about it, the recommendations growth engine that just goes on for us while we are asleep or doing other things. So that's at 4,000 for Sparkle now, which means that 4,000 people have come through, everybody recommending my work, and the other 2,000 have come through other networks and other things. The community thread on Sparkle also came up as a bit of a celebratory moment. This was a bit of a light bulb, not even that long ago. When did I do the first one? May. So not that long ago. I just wanted a place that was for only conversation. I just felt there was a real need to be like, this is a short invite, let's all chat about this one topic. So rather than a big long post and somebody sitting with the weight of that and feeling like they had to read it all before they could comment, this was like a short invite. And these have been really popular and they've helped people meet each other and think about their own growth and meet people in other countries and all that gorgeous stuff. So I felt very, very proud of that too. And that's what I wrote down. So yeah, all in all, a wonderful, sparkly year. And getting to this point of having a little break in summer it's needed, and it's nice as well to just be like, okay, like it's enough. And I think it's really important for us to know what that is for us. What does that look like? How do we make sure we take downtime and take time where we're not online on screens or trying to get to like the next milestone? So I'd love to talk to you all about some of that today. Does anybody want to share what has come up for them? Do you want to unmute and have a chat? Do you want to put it in the chat and I'll read it out? What do you guys want to do? There's only a few of us here. Obviously, we're recording it for the members. Amber, hi. You want to say hi?
Hi everyone. I've really enjoyed doing this. Thanks so much, Claire, and it's just absolutely amazing how we are smashing it on here, and I can't wait for the Sparkle Summit. I'm very excited.
It's going to be really
Um,
good. Yeah, thanks, Amber.
it's going to be amazing. I wrote down that I'm really proud of all the posts that I created this year. It's more common now that I'm sharing 2 a week, sometimes even 3. I've really up-leveled in my communication this year, so some of the posts have been a bit scary to put out there, knowing that my communication is up-leveling and that I'm sharing more of what I'm here to share, especially in respect to the research that I'm doing around chronic illness and what I'm kind of uncovering and finding out.
Mm.
So I'm really proud of myself for that, because there's some of those posts that have been super challenging. I also put for finding and following my flow. I only work when I'm in flow and most closely aligned with like guidance and also the clarity that's come through this year. Since last autumn, actually, when I first was on here, it was like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. There's so much to do. And then through working with yourself, Claire, actually, it was more about enjoying it, and just finding the joy in it and experiencing joyful growth. That was such a game changer for me. And that's more the arena that I'm hanging around in mostly. And trusting in the platform I've put, trusting in the platform, trusting in the growth, trusting in the size of it, trusting in the possibility of it all. And my healing through writing space as well, which I set up in March this year, where we meet online every Monday in like kind of a circle format to heal through writing. So, and I've just started showing up on notes in a new way. I couldn't get to grips with notes. It wasn't feeling right. The energy wasn't feeling great for me. And I've finally kind of realizing like what I'm there to show and how I'm there to show up and things I'm there to speak about. And it's really striking up some like big conversations with fellow chronic illness warriors. They're really deep and meaningful, and there seems to be a lot of impact. But I've literally only just got started with notes. It's taken me all this time. I've been on Substack for over 2 years, but I'm kind of finding like my way with it, and just really enjoying the benefits of that in a different way to what I'd thought I would, or what I tapped into before. So that feels really good.
It's very exciting as well that you've given it space and time to work it out, because obviously we do the twice a month engagement threads about notes, but what we've all got such a hangover from social media. Everyone's a bit like, what shall I do? What shall I say? What shall I try? Who shall I chat with? And then when you get one of those light bulb moments where you're like, that's what I want to say. If you want to grab the I could probably do it actually. I can grab Amber's notes feed. And remember, it was going to take you a while to do your about page. You were just like, it'll just take as long as it takes. And so that was that. So this is how you would get to somebody's notes feed. Just go into their writer profile. So even though I have multiple publications, I have one writer profile on notes. So that's Amber there. And then you can obviously chime in with any of these notes that she's done here. But yeah, I mean, it was really interesting to hear you reflect on some of that stuff, Amber, because it's already been a big year, like setting up that paid for space. It's a commitment, right? That's every Monday that you do that. So how's that feeling? Like, does that feel good? Have you got some planned downtime? Will you take Christmas off, for example? How's that all going to be?
Oh yeah, lots of time off for me. I I had to take my time with it. That's just the only way that I am where I am now. Everything's at slow pace, everything's at snail's pace, everything's at baby steps. Everything continues to be that way, even, obviously with my health, but just all areas of my life, and that includes Substack. So that was real slow and steady for me, getting into the routine and the habit of showing up every Monday and setting up this new venture. I want to bring in another healing through writing space later in the week, later in the day, for people that want to join that are in other countries. I want to do a monthly circle online, but it just has to start where it starts, and it takes as long as it does for me to grow. I have January and February off every year because I live in a static caravan on a country park, and it closes down for January and February, and I have to find somewhere else to live. So I'm gifting myself time off in that way, but that's really clear on my subscription, on my pages, before people join, after people join. I also will take occasional Mondays off, but I think so far it's only been one. But again, it's just like
It's part of life, isn't
being
it?
really
Yeah, it's
clear with
part, it's just
people.
being really
Yeah,
clear.
being clear with people up front. And I'm here to support those who are living with chronic illness, who are waking up, in some way to what they know to be true. So I'm practicing what I preach. I'm leading from the front. This is what I encourage people I work with to do. We never push, force, or strive or struggle. We're trying to step out of that and move away from that where we can. So it feels good to practice what I preach and what I encourage other people to do at the same time. I feel like that's really important. That's kind of, it's a big reason why I am where I am now and why I enjoy as much health and energy as I do now compared to what I did. So I feel like I'm modeling that for people,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
it really is, and I think we do need to remember that like the internet is 24/7, and sometimes it feels like I'll get a lot like I don't know how you do everything that you do. But for me, this is built on a 20-year career, right? So it's not just like, oh, I've forced something out. It just is in flow because I've had 20 years experience of managing festivals and events and managing artists and making creative projects happen. So it all feels quite full of ease. And then there are other challenges along the way. Like, there are always things that will crop up. And I'm really up for going into that with you guys as well. Like if you are finding things challenging, if you're experiencing writer's block, if you're experiencing any sort of negativity, if you are experiencing anything, any sort of imposter syndrome or anything where you feel like you can't quite get something done, I'm really keen to support you all. So Amber's an amazing example of how she's grown into this space. 2 years, you said, didn't you, Amber? I think you kind of pretty much came to the platform after I was like, oh, there's this thing called Substack and it's for writers and you've got to come and it's lovely. So yeah, so that is all looking really lovely. And it's really nice to see some of these images that are quite mystical and magical, which I know is a part of like your practice as well. And like connecting to that source power, the inner wisdom, like the magical way that you can live your life. So that's really beautiful to see that coming through from my point of view. And lovely little logo piece there, which I think is like one of the lakes or something, sunrise or sunset or something. It's beautiful.
That's all getting sorted out. I'm just waiting to work with an artist who's on a break at the moment. I'm going to
Okay.
get like a warrior woman who's wearing white and gold, and she's got like the balance of the scales, and
Okay.
then she's going to be really anchored to like all that's coming. But again, it just highlights how this takes time for me. It takes as long as it takes. That warrior insight post that I've written, I'm hoping that's going to be like my hero post. I've
Okay.
wanted to write that post all year. It's
Okay.
August. I've been trying to write that post all year, but it only flows when it flows, and it came through me last week.
Mm.
Yeah, I need to kind of would like to check what's relevant for a hero post and make sure I've covered all the angles.
Mm-hmm. So the big thing with hero posts is it can be a repeat of your about page, and because people can't restack an about page or any of the content of it, it is savvy to repeat some of it here, but it should be more of an introduction to you and why you're here. The about page is about our readers. So it lays out what's here for free readers, when you publish, if you have a regular posting schedule, what's in for paid, and like sets out our stall, our writer bio and who we are and where we are. Whereas the hero post is more our style. So just having a quick skim read of that because I've not read it yet. This coming together piece, which obviously you've worked with Rachel, Emma's worked with Rachel, there's that beautiful connection there. There's something that you could go probably deeper into that, talking about that circle that you want to get to. So that kind of circle of people that, that you call them, like they're in that healing space. There's the warriors within it all. You can bring some of that language to the hero post and be like, I'm calling you in, like you're all welcome here. Like, this is who I am. This is who you are, might be, could be. You found your way here. So there's that serendipitous moment where somebody finds us and it's like, oh, thank goodness. So for Rachel, when I did my interview with her, I couldn't believe that my words were being given space, right? So because it wasn't my chronic illness, I don't have a chronic illness, it was my husband's. I said to her, I would love to give this perspective. Like I would be really interested to talk to you. And I didn't think she was going to say yes, but I pitched it anyway. And then she wanted to have that conversation, which then held beautiful space for me. And that felt really important to like share on Creatively Conscious, but it's not the right space on Sparkle, so it wouldn't exist. So it's like differentiating out all the things about who you are in the world and all the work that you're doing, and then what fits in this beautiful blend of the personal and the professional on Substack. So you can have some of the personal in there for sure, and you do that really well. But then it is that kind of beacon to others to be really clear. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is who I'm calling in. So there's a bit more storytelling in the hero post. I mean, there's some great posts about hero posts. But I think as part of our creative process, when we're blocked, it's like, well, let's just work out what that is and come to it. So mine is definitely edited post. So I started it when I started Sparkle and I had it pinned, but I have been in a couple of times and like edited it and just given it that fresh life. And I always advise to do that with our about pages as well. Like every 6 months is enough, every 3 months is brilliant. So just having that on our radar, like it's good to revisit those words and see if they still resonate because we evolve as we go with Substack. Does that help, Amber?
Yeah, I already know this definitely needs updating. Excuse me. But I was really proud that I actually did it in Flow. It came through and I got it out there. And I can see the ways that I might update it. So yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you very much.
Lovely, super welcome.
And thanks for
Okay.
everyone's comments.
I love
They're just
it.
so lovely.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, everyone's so nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I'm just seeing if anyone's put anything else in, you sharing any things. So Caroline's saying I did a start here page. So happy with it. Let's have a look. We're going in. Here we go. Book alchemy. Look at that beautiful word mark. I'm pleased about word mark. So I've just run this course. Called Your Beautiful Substack Magazine with the filter of let's be curators of our own magazine. And honestly, you would not believe the bother with the word marks. And I had two designers. One does it for a living, makes word marks for a living, Christy Keller. And then I had Sophie, my VA, who was amazing with all design stuff. We were still having loads of ridiculous conversations about getting the word mark to look good. So a decent sized word mark is like this. Sometimes you upload it and it just goes really small and nobody can read it. So Caroline's done well. Big tick for Caroline. How are you finding it, Caroline? Are you up for coming on and chatting?
Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Hi. I just was so inspired after that last call you ran about doing the start here page, like as a way to showcase it. So I ended up making this page because I do have a number of things. And so I felt like it's the high start here at the top of the nav. So I put that there because that way I have lots of posts and I moved my podcast over that's been going since 2016. So there's like hundreds of episodes. So I don't want people to come in and like have their brains explode basically. So I was just trying to give them a taste of it because I also decided I wanted to paywall the archive because I do refer back to it a lot, but not paywall the podcast because that's always been free and I wanted to keep it that way. But this way, I just felt like people would understand what I was doing. So I really enjoyed collecting it, but I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, I'm just having a scan read. This is really beautiful. Do you explain why you called it Book Alchemy in your about page? Do you explain those two words together?
No, that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, I just think you think it's
that
obvious,
might be a
don't
good
you?
hero post. Yeah, I know.
I think, yeah, it's like it's just so lovely to invite people into why, why those two words, why now, why this space. So yeah, so
I mean, I know the answer, I just haven't written about it yet.
Yeah, and you can put that, and then you can also, if you wanted to put any testimonials, you can obviously put those in an about page, a start here post, a hero post. That's all really good. Social proof works amazingly well. We're getting paid subscriber notes through. We've had people say kind things about our work in the past. You can put that all in as a quote or something like that. That's good. If you've got any feedback from the podcast or anything like that, that would be really good to do here.
I've even got screenshots of like 5-star reviews of the podcast and stuff. So I could put those like under the podcast links maybe.
Yeah, that would be really nice. It just breaks it up and it's not all like us talking about who we are in the world. It's like other people's voices come in because other people use different words to describe what it is that we do. And I didn't really realize this until relatively recently. I'd got some testimonials from our website years ago, and then they just sort of stayed as static things. Whereas with Substack, because it is living, breathing all the time, and new paid subscribers come and I meet you guys, there's so much in the language that you use about the work that you want to do here that then really chimes with me. And I'm like, because I'm such a massive co-creator, I'm like, that's great. So yeah, have a look at those. Those would be really good to do. But it's very clear. It's very inviting. It's nice to have a photograph of you, well, a couple of photographs of you. I think the more photographs of us that we're comfortable with, that we can just pull from our desktop and like put in posts every now and again, it's good, because we're getting new subscribers all the time. So even, yeah, so just having a look on your page there, just seeing you somewhere on that page. Like we've got this one, but if there was more of a profile photo type one, that would be really good to have as well.
I could do the next Murder Diaries that's on Friday. I could make it a picture of
yeah,
me
just to
as
keep that there would be really, really good to do. Caroline, this is really beautiful. All this blend of images, I've never seen anything like that. I love that. It's amazing.
It was just a collage in Canva
And
that
then
I made.
and then you've put, so the template existed, and then you've put in like different bits from your world into that.
Yeah, and then I had the little logo. I worked with an artist to do the little raven with the book open.
Oh, this
and
guy.
Then
Yeah.
So then that went in the collage to be, he's got a little library stamp too, which I love.
Yeah.
So I put all of that together, and then this, I just wanted to have the mood of a library.
Yeah, that's really cool. There might be something around this bird as well, like the storytelling of why, anything in folklore, anything that you felt particularly attracted to the reason of using it, you know, is it male or female? Like, we can afford to unpack the story, the fairy tale, the fabric of why we've made the visual decisions that we've made. People love it. So yeah, maybe there's something that you can do with that, that it just makes it, just invites us in a little bit more. And it just brings more to your brand, more to the visual identity as well. But it's looking really good. It's very clear, you know, in terms of where we go. There's a start here. There's a podcast. What did you say Oh Murder was? Is that you serializing it? Is that's audio stuff?
I'm working on a murder mystery novel right now. And so I just put all of my mystery related content in Oh Murder. Yeah. The first post there, I should probably pin it at the top. That was my grandma's biggest swear. So instead of like, oh shit, she would say, oh murder, which was hilarious. And our whole family likes murder mysteries. So that was sort of part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's giving me like Cluedo vibes. Do you know the game Cluedo?
Totally. Oh
yeah. So my son, not even that long ago, like got this Cluedo box, and it just gave me like such a big throwback to all of the games that we played and how we made all of that stuff plan out. And he just couldn't get it. Like, he couldn't grasp it. It was so abstract for him. And he did eventually, and he absolutely loved it. But I was like, why are you not getting it? It's so fun. Like, everybody loves Cluedo, but it just took him a while to get into like the gamification of it, I think. But yeah, it does give me a little bit of the vibes of that, like the library and the candlestick and Miss Scarlet and all that. It's really lovely.
The secret passageways. Nice.
Exactly.
I'm like, can I have secret passageways in my Substack? That would be fun.
And this is great. Obviously, you've got some sections or tags and stuff here. You've managed to get this in here, because this isn't easy stuff to do. This is like advanced Substack layout stuff, and you've got all that in. So that's looking really good. It was really fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it, because a lot of people get very tangled and very frustrated. So must just be a different type of brain, you know, that goes, yes, I'm going to organize it all.
I do like organizing.
Perfect. So, okay. And is there anything that you're thinking, okay, what else can I add, or what should be here, or how do you do this? Or do you feel like you're okay for now?
I was thinking it might be cool to do, it just sort of sparked something that I think I would try next, is to do some threads and maybe have discussion threads. Like, what are you reading currently that you love? Or you know, what's your summer reading at the moment, or just something to get people to chat. And I
Yeah.
guess the only decision would be, I think this time, since my paid is a little bit lower than I'd like, I'd probably make that for everybody for the time being. Or for the summer, we'll have these chats, and then maybe I could change it in the fall.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So with paid subscribers, you can comp people in. So if you wanted to just have more of a vibe and you had some colleagues and friends that you wanted to comp in, that can just feel a bit nicer to us as publication hosts to know, okay, there's at least, you know, a few people in there. The chat function doesn't work as well as a post or a thread to get conversation going.
Yeah.
You need a much bigger publication for that. So even on Creatively Conscious, I think there's like 61 members there now, and my monthly chat thread has 1 or 2 replies, you know, and it's quite a simplistic question, but I keep it there just to keep it separate. And I'm just like, that's the only thing that I use chat for. So sometimes it's like the sacred space, the circle. You can also email them out as well. So you tick a box to email them out. So usually with the Sparkle Ask Me Anything, I will email them out. If I don't email them out, there's about a third of as many replies. So I always email them out to remind people. With the threads, obviously I said I've been really enjoying this, and it's because it is just one simple invite, and I do them on a weekend. And doing them on a weekend means that there are more people online, there are more people in that kind of kicking back, like hanging out, having a chat. If they go out through the week, you're asking people to put down their work and join in with a chat. So that's more difficult. So weekends work really well. Think about your time zone, look at your map and see where most of your subscribers are coming from, and then publish it at a time zone that like works for you and then works for the majority of your subscribers, and remind people it's there. So with the threads on Sparkle, I'll also like remind people, oh, and the thread's still open on this particular topic. But Substack really like us to use threads. So when a thread does well, it boosts our publication up the leaderboard, which means it boosts discoverability. It might end up on the homepage. It might end up on staff picks. It's definitely how mine stays buoyant in spot number 15. So if you are looking to attract more subscribers in and kind of get all that thing going, it's good to start with free because it'll get more engagement and more chats going, and then you can curate it a little bit and you can just set out your parameter like, I'm just trying this, or it's going to be free for X amount of time, and just work with them to see what sparks and what they're excited by. How's all that sound?
That sounds great. That's really helpful.
Good.
Yeah, it just feels like more of a, because I feel like I've wanted more of a community conversation vibe. So that feels like that would help.
Yeah, I think it's just about being really, really inviting, and people just need a clear invitation. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is people will ask, you know, multiple questions in one thread, and then people are like, oh, which one do I answer? And you've already sort of lost them if they go there. So it's like one clear question, and encouraging them to write in the comments, reminding them that it's a safe space, that you're holding space for everybody to feel safe and stuff. Like that's been really important to me with Sparkle. And obviously if there has been anything, I'll just be in there deleting it. And now I've got Mika can do that as well. And it's not that it happens often, but just people knowing that they feel really safe and secure in your company. And it's that other chance to introduce who you are. So if you wanted to put a few lines of your bio in there and be like, just to remind you, like, this is where you are, you're on Book Alchemy, I'm Caroline, you know, all of that stuff is really good to do. And we can only try, you know, the first one might be quiet, but the second one might be busy. By the time you've done 6 different questions and 6 different threads, you'll be like, that's the one. So just takes a bit of time to play with.
Okay, I'll go for it. Thank you so much.
I'll have fun, and we'll all be joining in. We'll all pop over and have a little join in. Okay, anybody else want to celebrate anything, want to ask anything, got any kind of tech questions? I'm just seeing, shall I check the chat?
I do have like a couple of questions.
For sure.
You know, the pinned posts, how many pinned posts can we have? Can we have multiples? Or was it just one?
So they changed it so you can. So it used to be that you had to have a section to then have another pinned post, but they changed it now. So I don't know how many. but let's do a little experiment. Just do a little experiment on Substack and see how it goes. And we can figure it out together. I could also ask the chatbot, but you know, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 here. Let me see if it lets me pin another one. Yeah, it's going to let me pin another one. So at least 4. Yeah, 5. I'm not going to do that, but at least 5, and then I'll ask the chatbot, Amber, and see what they say on that. Let me go in and have a little chat with the chatbot and see what he says. Have you guys used the chatbot? It's like the most helpful AI, but also incorrect some of the time. So don't take it as gospel, but so funny. It's just like, do all these things. I'm like, I know that's wrong, but okay. How many pinned posts can we have on our home page? Let's see. It's having a think. Multiple. Multiple. See what I mean? How many specifically? Please. I love AI. I don't know whether it'll give me the answer. Do you want more than 5? No, it's not going to give me it. Okay, there we go. This is why. So I've got magazine layout. So 5. So it's the layouts. Let me put that in the chat. You guys. The chat gone there. Was there another question, Amber?
Yeah, how many notes can you post per day? Because it looked to me like people might be posting more than one, and I'm pretty sure
I do. I'm all over
do
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during
Recommended.
the book launch, because people were like back in the book and it was like launch week, I was just literally on there restacking, commenting. Like that was probably my busiest day, and like it doesn't stop here. The length of a note as well, there will be a cutoff, but it's very, very long. Like they've made it so that we can essentially write a whole essay within a note. So there's loads that can be written there as well. Adam Ming, who is in the membership, asked, could we do it like a Twitter thread? So there was like a note and then we commented underneath. You absolutely can. There's no reason that you can't do that. And then you can obviously link to things. You can change your formatting. So I like to, on my note, put some bold in there, put some italic in there. Sometimes use the quotation marks as well, you know, just because you're capturing attention. So people are scrolling. There's something that visually stalls them temporarily, and then they're getting into whether they want to read it or not. So yeah, there's loads you can do with notes. It's almost like a whole other platform within Substack, and then it enables people to sort of see our writer profile, to get to know us on a deeper level, all that good stuff. So there's loads to do with that. Does that help? Yeah, good. Okay, anybody else want to tell me about what they're proud of on their Substack? What they're up to? Hi, Salema, would you like to chat?
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, really well.
Oh, perfect. Okay, perfect. So I've been on here since February, late February, and I found it a bit of a minefield to start off with in terms of paid and everything. So I went paid for maybe 2 or 3 months, had 3 paid subscribers from scratch, and then I decided to go free until this September, so I could establish people, get used to my writing and know a little bit more about me. So I guess now I was just interested to see if you looked at my homepage, if you had any thoughts on that, because I've been doing a lot of tutorials and just throwing things at the wall, see what works. But I have to say, the interesting thing, even though this is predominantly written, I did a couple of video notes and they really took off.
Okay.
and I saw a lot from that, actually, which I wasn't expecting to see at all. And so as a result of that, that's why I'm putting together from September a blossoming circle and a blossoming room, two separate formats. One like a coaching gathering, and one as a physical practice, as a physical studio online as well.
Okay.
To bring those elements in. But I just wondered, because I struggle a little bit with tags. The three bugbears at the moment are tags, recommendations, and threads. Those are my three things that I would like to know sort of more about, and how to use them effectively. Basically, I'm sure everybody has that, as you were just saying with threads, because I don't understand what the difference is between threads and chat.
Yeah, so we have covered it. So we did a whole call on it, and it's around Substack as social media. So if you find that one, it's in there. But let me just explain. So in a chat, that is like a WhatsApp chat with your subscribers. So it's everybody that's subscribed to your Substack, and it's like on the app, it's really easy to access. So we've got our list of chats that we can kind of join in with and stuff like that. I personally, as a consumer, find them very overwhelming and a bit distracting. So I leave most of the chats that I'm subscribed to. Like I've got a couple in there. Mainly I use it for you guys. So I'll say, okay, it's Monday, ask me anything. Here I am, like I'll be here on and off all day. Like the thread will be open all week. So it gives me that space to like, I'm here, like this is the last post I wrote, or this is what I'm promoting, or whatever else. So it's that regular contact with my members is like one of the primary uses of it. And then the other thing it's really good for is people can share screenshots. So if they're stuck with something, then they can share an actual photo in chat, which we can't do in comments. So it's worth bearing in mind when you're setting up what you want people to do. So that lovely language that you used around the blossoming circle, maybe you want someone to share something from like a sacred space or a flower in the garden, or, you know, a photograph that they've taken in their favorite outdoor location. And you can do that in chat, but you couldn't in threads. So for that purpose, and then you can email it out. So if you just post it within chat, people would have to like have notifications turned on and like see it in the app and all that sort of thing. So I override that and send it through to email for the Ask Me Anythings, because then people know and they're reminded that it's live, especially when new members are coming all the time. Whereas with threads, a threads is meant to just be like a few lines. So if we'll go back to Sparkle threads, it's just a few lines. So this one was maybe a little bit longer, but I wanted to just, one of you had asked, and I just wanted to open up like, okay, what do you want to chat about in terms of going paid? And then this will just be there permanently. So people were in here and their conversations got really, really in depth. Whereas sometimes they can be more frivolous, like what's your favorite cake, you know, just getting to know your subscribers and stuff like that. So that's all in there. You can also turn off threads. So we're going to be part of a thread on Substack, which is a great newsletter for smaller Substacks. So I think you've got to have under 1,000 subscribers to be part of it and be part of the community. It's a great initiative, and Russell and I are doing like a Q&A for them. So they're opening the thread at a certain time and then turning it off at a certain time. So editing to say, right, that's the thread closed, because obviously they're bringing us in, so we can't just be plugged in 24/7. So you've got that option as well. With threads, they don't pull through when you pull through a post. So I'll show you what I mean. So this one, the catch-up day that I did, see, all of these are like lovely little icons. So this is all the stuff I'm saying. There's all these things you can catch up on if you want to. When it's threads, it will just give you the URL line. So this is a screenshot. So I took a screenshot of my threads tab, and then I hyperlinked it, because it doesn't do that lovely, beautiful thing where it pulls it through if it's a thread, either for like the section that I've set up or for the actual thread. This one here, I've put the little chat icon, and it's actually a post rather than a thread. This one here is a chat thread because it's got the Substack like grayed out little chat icon. So this is
Right.
very detailed and very nuanced, but I just feel like if you've got all the information, you can always watch this replay again and be like, what did she say about that again? So this is just me learning over time, like how I want to use the platform, how I want to invite people in. You've got the opportunity to obviously put a strong photo in there as well. So yeah, and then with chats, they tend to die off, whereas threads, you can pick them up again. You could share it to notes. Can't really share a chat to notes in the same way, but you can with threads. So if you felt like it was dying a bit and you wanted to give it a bit more momentum, you could share it in notes and tag a few people in. In terms of tags, so there's two ways that the language of tags is used. One is for like tagging our writer profile in notes. So obviously my writer handle is Claire Venus. And then if I'm tagged in notes, then I get the notification of that. And then the other tags on Substack is like the magnet. So us being able to say Blossom in Circle, tag that. And then every time we write about Blossom in Circle, we do that tag. You get the URL, and then the URL lists all the posts under Blossom in Circle. So it's just a way to magnetize all the posts that are about a specific topic. And then once you have that, you can put it on your homepage. So we've not done it for this one, but on Creatively Conscious, I have various different tags that I use. What's happened there? Oh, it's because I've pinned the puppy book. So yeah, memberships and workshops, that's a tag. So every time I do a video for my members, a workshop, and then put the replay on, that's tagged in the back office. And it means that when it feeds through to the homepage, it's all here. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're designing a post and you're ready to post it, so before you press publish, it'll say tags. You can literally type in whatever you want the tag to be, and then it'll either come up if you used it before, or it'll say, okay, like that's your new tag. So you can go back in and edit old posts as well and add that same tag, just click on it. So yeah, so that'll be also in a video. It'll be in a couple of videos if you did need the video tutorial of it as well. And then recommendations, to finish off with those. So obviously this is a very new publication, but I knew that I wanted to get through and recommend all of the speakers that are joining us. And so that has driven 100 subscribers from recommendations. So me making a choice to recommend a colleague has meant that some of them have recommended me back and some of them have just recommended me anyway. So there's just like a beautiful reciprocity that goes on. So 25 Substacks are recommending the summit, and then that's driven 100 subscribers so far. So you can start to sort of track how many subscribers would come in monthly if you're on a bit of a path to growth and you say, okay, I'm going to turn on paid when I hit 1,000 subscribers, for example. You'll be able to sort of map out, well, how are the recommendations helping towards that number? What else do I need to do to get to the 1,000? Am I going to do some guest posts? Am I going to show up in notes a few times a week? So it gives you that. But basically to do it, you just click manage, and then you can go down and see where you recommend. You can add a blurb, which is just a few kind words about it. Let's think of somebody that is in this space. Let's just pick Austin Kleon. He doesn't need any more PR, but see if it comes up. There he is. So click on Austin Kleon. I'm not going to add any words for now. Do that later maybe, but I'll add that recommendation. Then it just goes in there. Now, Austin Kleon is probably not going to recommend the Sparkle Summit. He probably doesn't know what it is, you know, but it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, I've just pressed that little button and that's all fine. And so the way it works is when you go to subscribe to a new Substack, you're going to be recommended things back. So after you've pressed subscribe, and we just did it on the call, actually, when I subscribed to one of you guys, and it's going to recommend those within the same sort of niche, adjacent niche, all that sort of thing. Substack just powers all that. We don't really have much control over it. But what I've learned is if someone is bringing a large amount of subscribers from another platform and I'm one of their recommendations, I get a ton of subscribers through at that point when someone signs up. So it's really good to do it and just make it part of your monthly practice. Right, let's go back over here. Was there anything else, Dilemma, that you wanted to ask about on here?
No, just I I think I asked you a question a little while ago, and I've followed your advice, so I'm quite happy with the layout and the concise description of what it is. It's taken me a while to get to that place of how to summarize it without using too over familiar words that everybody else is using, and just really be very clear on the resonance that I'm trying to create basically and put out there. So yeah, I just wondered if you saw anything as you looked at that homepage, if there was anything glaringly obvious, but I have sort of done a couple of things you mentioned, so I'm quite happy with that at the moment.
Yeah, the only thing is that it obviously starts to cut off the text. So I'm reading the blue, I'm reading that language, and I wonder if you just switch it. So you just have circle first and then hyphen the blooming blossoming, or blooming
I do
blossoming or
think about
something.
doing that.
Do that, because it's just slightly clearer. And then these are quite prime real estate in your publication. So over on Creatively Conscious, I've only just, because of the magazine course and everybody holding us all accountable, so I've got Contents 2024 now. So because it's more of a digital magazine, a seasonal magazine, I've got this contents page, and then that layers into like all these other things. So you might want to think about something like that is the top level explainer of what it is that you offer. And it then just keeps it cleaner here. So rather than having all these things, because realistically, people are only going to click one anyway. So if you give them one place, they see it all, and then you get to invite them in. So you would probably put the free thing first, like the free yoga, and then you would explain these other things. And just have like an overarching title for that. But ask in the chat, in the chat here, or in the Sparkle chat, if you're stuck on ideas for like describing that, just getting it really clear, and just get some sound bites from the community.
Okay, so basically you're taking those three tabs out and consolidating them into one blanket content that people will then go in and access, and then it'll be listed basically.
So it's hard to think on the spot, but it could be circle with me, it could be join in, I don't know. There'll be some better words that we could come up with, I think, if I had a bit more headspace around it. I'm just gonna for 2 minutes, because my puppy's crying, so I'll just go on mute and see if she probably just needs some company because my husband's out, and then we'll come over to Julie. But you can chat amongst yourselves if you want to. I'll just be a minute.
Where is everyone? Where are you all based?
I'm Cambridge.
Cambridge.
I'm in Windsor.
Windsor.
Berlin.
Just outside of Newcastle.
Ah, so quite a few of us from England.
I'm in England, but I'm Australian. So yeah, but I'm in Surbiton at the moment.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of Yorkshire way.
Wide distribution of people.
Mm.
How long have you all been on Substack?
Over 2 years I've been on, but like I said, I just got a snail's pace and take my time and really enjoy it, which is having the longer term benefits and feel sustainable as well. I think that's absolutely key for me, is that this, what we're creating, is sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hi guys, she's here. She's just coming with me. That's fine.
Oh.
I think because she'd had a nap, and then obviously she's woken up, and Dave's busy outside, and I'm up here. I've been up here for a couple of hours, so she's like, "Wait, where's my family?" Is it okay if we go to Julie? Is that all good, Salema?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Claire.
You're
Thanks
so
so much.
welcome. Hi, Julie. You okay?
Hi, Claire. I'm fine, thanks. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No, I'm still finding my way around Substack, and I kind of probably overdid it by launching 2 publications simultaneously, but I don't think my personal and my business one are similar enough to be on the same page. So looking at them now, I've kind of got them slightly organized, but they're not actually very visually very different. And I'm kind of trying to think of ideas to certainly for Up the Garden, which is my thoughts and musings and more experimental writing, trying to think of ways to make it kind of more creative looking. I'm sort of struggling with that, really.
Okay, I'm just getting the other one up, and there's a typo in your second one, but I think I see it. I'm going to fix it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Oops.
So
Sorry, I'm on my phone.
just that's okay. So just taking us back a step, is your expectation that readers would subscribe to both publications, or you're looking for a different readership from each?
I think it'll be a different readership for each, because I don't think they overlap enough. And with Up the Garden Path, it's much more personal than what I want to put on my business page anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm using it for a different purpose. It's kind of doing the kind of writing I want to write for me, which isn't necessarily something I want to put on a business page.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. And so you just want the design synchronicity across the two, so that it's linked to you. Is that what you're feeling, or?
No, I think I kind of need to make them look more visually different. I think the business one, I probably need to put more of my business branding on, which I've got on other platforms, but I'm still trying to work out how to make it work on Substack. But the personal one, I kind of look at it and think it looks a bit kind of meh at the moment. It's sort of not very
okay.
enticing.
You don't feel excited about it. So this one, you're not.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I quite like it, Julie. I'm like, okay, that's quite nice. You know, there's a rose and a garden and a little tunnel. It's a bit of mystery. Yeah, I wonder if maybe there's something to grow into around making a Pinterest board or a mood board and just cutting out from magazines what it is that you like, because otherwise we're there going, well, what is it? Like, what's the color palette? What are the textures? What are the feels? So I've got in the archive, I've got a couple of examples of audits that I did for people where I'll draw on that. So for example, one of them was Susie Walker from Heartleap. And Susie had somehow like built up some quite like darker images that don't really represent her or our brand. And she was like, oh yeah, I think I've been having a bit of a hard time with the menopause there, Claire. That's right. You know, and so on the front page, it was like there was a bit of worry and a bit of weight. And so she just refreshed it all up. And I said to her, look, just because our colours are around like turquoise a lot of the time and the ocean, she uses pink a little bit as well. She wears pink. I was like, just type in pink happy or pink flower or something into Unsplash if you want to grab that stuff. But also as you're, you know, working around, going about your day, you'll maybe spot something and then just take a little quick iPhone photo, and then you build up a bit of a collection. So maybe it's just that as it's building up, it's that call to like, oh, what else do I want to do? Like, what else do I want to invite? I really like the gallery photo feature. I can never find them when I tell you guys about it, but I do think it's a lovely thing to do because Substack will like lay them all out. You can have up to 9 photographs, and then you get to see, okay, there's one of me, there's one of a garden, there's one of flowing water, there's a beautiful old tree. You get to see what would those 9 photos be, and then you've got that desktop folder you can pull from. You can definitely repeat imagery as well if you've got a series going on, which I don't see at the moment. So there's that, and then you can help us to feel more organized on your publication. So at the moment, we're limited with options. You know, we could go into one of these posts, which is a lovely invite and absolutely fine. We could go into the archive, but our brains aren't being organized. Like, go here for this, go here for that. So you could just do a little bit of that navigation, and that might just help you to understand what it is that you want to do. If you watch the Instagram to Substack masterclass, which was something that I delivered off the membership, but then it's in there for the membership. In there, I talk about content buckets. So I talk about the things that we want to talk about, the things that we're comfortable talking about, and where they fit and flow. So usually somebody would have at least 2 topics of things that they would want to talk about. And then all of that flows out and a heading flows out from each of those things. It might be 3, it could be more. And getting into that class a little bit should just feel quite fun. Obviously, you can ignore the Instagram stuff if it's not relevant, but it'll just give you that ownership over what you're doing here. And then, like you say, you've kind of got your work stuff that is just like plugging that in and making sure that's all branded up. And this can be a bit more of a playground, really.
Yeah, that's what I want this to be. It's sort of my experiments and my sticking my toe in the water of actually publishing what I write, because I've got dozens of notebooks I've been scribbling in for years and just trying to organize thoughts and actually do something with them.
Yeah. And maybe there's a thread in all of that as you're going through those notebooks. You know, it could be reflective, or it could be inviting, or it could be, I'm going to go through those and I'm going to write another haiku, or some, you know, there could be something that ends up being a collection for you and then it builds up. But I mean, it just takes time, I would say, with Creatively Conscious. It's only really this year where I'm like, these are all the elements, but I still don't box myself in. I still say for 2024, I've got the Rejection Palace. It's an anthology. It's an open call. I've got Self-Seeded Business. I've got Wholehearted Living stuff. And then somewhere in all of that, I do write sort of memoir pieces, but I haven't catalogued those yet. I just haven't done that. And maybe I don't need to, but you know, there's always those little, oh, should I do this? Should I not do that? There's so much of that on Substack because there's such freedom in our publication. So yeah, you just lean into that and have a nice time with it and just see what bubbles up for you. And you could do like a critical friend swap with somebody else in the membership. You know, you could look at each other's publications and be like, is this clear? What do you think about this? I feel like there's a lot of green coming through. You've got green as your accent color and then green in the photography, which really works. So you might want to be like, okay, I'm all in green, but what's the secondary color? What is the splash that kind of comes in as well? And then it starts to be a bit more cohesive.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's really helpful. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, right. So we've got a few minutes left. Does anybody else want to ask any tech questions? Does anyone want to celebrate anything about their Substack? Share with the group anything at all cropping up for you guys? Puppy's just sort of getting random bits of soil to eat. Okay, let me just have a little scroll of the chat just to see if there's anything I've missed.
I've got a question, actually.
Oh, hi, Brian. How are you doing?
Hi, Claire. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just sort of a bit concerned about my puppy tearing up the yoga studio, but it's all right.
Okay. Yeah, I've been on Substack for a few years, but at the start I was just kind of using it for announcements kind of thing. And I had a podcast separately, and then people wanted to support the podcast. So I set up a Patreon, and now I've got like kind of multiple things going on, and I want to kind of consolidate them onto Substack. And I think at some point I imported all the podcasts onto Substack, but it's more like just figuring out how to get everything in one place. And also having some fear around like posting stuff that has already been posted somewhere else. Like, should I post it on Substack or should I not? Or is there a way to put it into the archive in Substack without emailing everyone, you know?
Yes, for sure. Where is it hosted right now?
Right now it's briancam.com. And then I just put a link to the podcast, which is on Spotify. And so then this comes up actually just onto, it should just pop up. Yeah, all the old ones kind of thing.
Yeah, amazing.
And then the Patreon is separate, and I haven't really linked it from the Substack because I'm kind of in a transitional phase where I'm like, which one am I doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can feel really tough with Patreon as well because you've got your patrons, right? So you're like busy looking after them and that's building, and then you're like, oh, and there's this other platform, and how am I going to work all this sort of stuff out? So it's kind of holding the goals of what you want to do holistically. So a lot of the stuff that I do one-to-one is this online congruence, I call it. So it's the best fit platforms for what it is that you've got, like, so what makes up your creative business and what you want to do. On Substack, it's great because it's free podcast hosting, right? So we don't have to pay for that. So for my money, it's like, well, we may as well import it into Substack and Substack can host it then. You know, it seems like it's great. It's been around since 2017. We've all been using it. We've all had a great time. And that then all works seamlessly. And it's great what you've done. So it's not that you have to do that. It's just that you could do that.
Yeah.
I guess with the rest of the older archive stuff, what I did was I just imported my blog. So you can use a Substack uploader and it imports the blog, and the timestamps that you published those on just import. So they go into the
Oh,
archive
okay.
automatically. So mine was on WordPress. So I don't
Right.
know if that, will be compatible with what you've got on your website, or whether you'd have to copy and paste them in, but
Yeah.
you can absolutely post them. And that's totally fine to do. I think so. You can obviously go in and edit and backdate things. I just can't remember whether you can post something but with an old date. I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Okay.
I'll double check that for you though. I'll have a little look. But yeah, in terms of what's brought you to Substack and what you want to do with Substack, now you've been here a little bit, what are you feeling? Like, are you using it to grow your email subscribers? Do you want some paid subscribers? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I had it originally just kind of as like announcing events that I was doing, but now I want to do more of my actual writing here rather than on my blog, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
for a long time I was just writing on the blog and then occasionally kind of linking to it from the Substack. But now I think I want this to be the main place that I do writing. And since I'm doing the podcast is currently on Spotify, and it was just like a lot of work to set up all the links to Apple and all these other things. And I did all that and it was all working perfectly. And so then I wasn't quite sure, like maybe I should just move that to Substack and move it all into one place. Do you know what I mean? Because I am
It's
still doing the
hard, isn't
Substack
it?
and the writing and
Yeah,
so
yeah. Yeah, I've had a few clients that have moved their podcasts in, and they've had the same nervousness as you, and then they've moved them in, and they've been like,
okay.
"Oh, right, it's done now." So
Okay.
there's obviously something for them in cutting the price of the hosting, and
Yeah.
then just having this one space that is a mixed media magazine of them and who they are. So they've got their book on there, they've got their regular posts that they do, they might have
Right.
some community chat threads, but what you've done is great and fine. So it's not like you have to do that. So it's just, I guess, if it's niggling at you, maybe looking at other people that have got their podcast within Substack and just seeing, okay, do I want it to be more of this, and do I want to share it in those ways? And in terms of the links and stuff, like, that's a curious one, isn't it? And I would get onto Substack directly about that, because they've supported some big creators to bring their podcasts over. So
Right. Okay.
you don't want to break your links, because that's just a big pain, isn't it? So
Yeah.
hopefully it wouldn't do that. But yeah, I think with the Patreon, when people are weighing up, okay, there's the Patreon, there's Substack, it can get really difficult around the subscription model. And what you could do is just have paid turned on here and have it as just pay to support my work. Like, I'm making all of this work, but I've got Patreon over here. Run it like that for a little while, and then see if you want to shift and change it. Obviously, if you did try and shut down Patreon and move people to Substack, you're going to lose some people, and that's
Right.
fine. What you do.
Yeah.
But you can just sort of go with it a little bit, and just, rather than like make a rash decision, just go with it a little bit and then go, okay, how's this feeling? I'm leaning in, because some Substackers use Patreon and Substack, and others
Okay.
have moved over. And
Right.
I think it's when they've got a really strong thing going on Patreon, it's hard for them to think about closing it down altogether.
Yes.
I think the payment system is slightly different, isn't it, in terms of how you get paid and those tiers. So some people have moved back to Patreon, come on,
Right.
missus, from Substack, because they want a lower paid tier.
Right.
They want to be able to, but there is a way to do that within Substack. So my colleague Russell Nolte does it. So he just makes a ton of coupons and then does it like 10% off, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to like 90% off his publication. And that's how he's figured it out. And he just sends the email. So then all I would have to do is decide what I wanted to pay. So that's driven him a ton of new paid subscribers. Just again, recently, this is the second time he's done it. Sometimes people will pay for both. You just have to be really clear what the difference is. And maybe you're getting there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's still where I'm a little unclear, because it's like previously I was kind of posting absolutely everything on Patreon, and I do have patrons over there. And then Substack, I did turn on paid, but in the description I just said, subscribe if you can pay if you want to support my work, but there's not any particular difference at the moment.
Yeah, great. In the little sort of 3-line description that we get, do you mean?
Yeah, I think when you do, is it when you do subscribe and it shows you the different options or something like that?
Yeah, so if you wanted to Oh, that's interesting. So you've got it on you've got it as a website rather than a Substack. I'm always like,
Yeah.
because I don't do that. Oh no, it's not letting me see it. I'll do it.
Is it that subscribe button up there? Will that do it?
Yeah,
Or no?
oh, that might do it. If I just subscribe, it'll give me it here. Yeah, here we
this
go.
is the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really say you get anything. It's just like
Yeah. So you know your people, but ordinarily you're going to have to give them more than this. You're going to have to tell them what you're about, you know, maybe build a sales page, like tell them who you are in the world, tell them what you're about. And then because from this, like people might for sure, and people do.
Yeah,
but
people
it's
have,
like,
yeah, which is
and that's
not a
awesome, isn't
lot. So
it?
then I
But
need to think
still,
about it.
it's like, and so in September, this is what we're going to do the focus on, because there's the reminding people, there's the setting out the stall, there's the conversion content, there's the reminding people how amazing it can be to be in this paid community, whatever that is, because people don't know till they get there. So a couple of times I paid expecting community and then it wasn't there. And I was like, oh, you know, so just being super clear about what you want to hold space for as a creator, as a publication owner, and just getting that all super clear in your own mind. But the holistic is like laying it all out. Okay, so I've got the blog, I've got the Substack, I've got the Patreon. What do I do for the Patreon people? What do I do for any Substack people? I've got the podcast, like what's that? Because some creators paywall everything, some paywall nothing, and they can be equally as successful, if not more. So Heather Cox Richardson, who's the top grossing Substack owner, doesn't paywall anything. She's into the millions. Simon Hazel is another amazing example. He's over 1,000 paid subscribers. He doesn't paywall anything. Like now and again he does, but really his model isn't that. So it's more like in service of saying thank you to him that people would pay. And then other people are like, this is what you get. This is the value piece, but you still can have one free post a month, but mainly it's all behind the paywall. So there are so many different ways with it. So it needs to feel good for your unique ecosystem and your unique space. And then also because Substack is a long game, right? We get to work out, okay, like a couple of people supported us early on. And then when I did like a flash sale, this many people came. And now I've been there 6 months, I've got this many people. You start to look at the stats and the percentages, because Substack is still a relatively new platform. So new readers are arriving every single day in their droves. New people are paying every single day. So there's something in that we can be quite savvy about and understand what our growth trajectory is. But we need to kind of do the work on setting out our stall and give ourselves a bit of time to understand what those growth metrics are for our unique publication. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out, I think.
Yeah. And I guess just have fun with it, you know, like you can ask the readers as well. So you can do the little polls. If you did, you know, an email, yes, but then there's like maybe 3 or 4 poll questions. You can get that temperature check of how they're feeling. You can ask in the Sparkle chat as well, like, has anyone tried this? So in a post, it's just like a pressable poll that you can set up. Shall I show you? I'll show you real quick because it's super easy to do. And I've seen people have massive success with running these and then changing things based on what their readers tell them that they want. Yeah, so it's a really good thing to do. So say if I was going to pull the people at the Sparkle Summit, I would just go into new post. And then we go in this one.
Oh yeah,
there we go, poll. So and then we edit that, and then I always leave that on, so I'm not hiding anything, and I do it as forever, because then you can remind people about it.
And
also, you know, people don't get to their emails in time and stuff, so I'll do that. So and people just love pressing these buttons. I cannot tell you how many people love pressing these buttons.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, so like I would say minimum 3, because people are like, oh great, another one to press. But like you can go like 10, 12, anything that you want.
Wow.
And this is just really good practice for us anyway, because as new subscribers are coming, it just reminds them that we're listening to them and we're just kind of co-creating together. And if you're still curious, it's a good thing to do, because it's going to give you like that little bit more security and light bulb moment around what it is that you want to do. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Okay, guys, obviously we've been over a bit over an hour here, but I did see another one. If you guys need to go, then do let me know. Joy is saying that she's at the beginning, it feels overwhelming. A relief to hear that others have felt when they started and now moved forward. Yeah. So I think, Joy, just to say, when I started on Substack, there were nowhere near as many features as they are now. And Substack would give us like 4 in the space of a week. And we were all like, please make it stop. Like, we were just having a really nice time writing posts, putting them out, having a chat in the comments, finding other places to read. So I go with that. I'm like, okay, I came here for X. Let's do some of that for a little while. Because like Amber said, the time comes when it's like, okay, today's the day I'm going to give some work to my about page. And you're here in Sparkle and we'll do it. You know, we do all of that work in Sparkle. You can go back into the archive. You can find all the videos. We've done everything. We've covered it all. But there's no rush. If the most important thing is just making sure that you set out your stall and say, this is who I am, and I'm going to be emailing you about this. And then you come back to the rest later. You decide on your cadence, you start writing, subscribers will start coming. And if there's anything on the tech side I can help with today, like just shout, like I'm here, you know, I've got time. So let me know.
I probably have one question. It's a little bit around what you call things, but in your menu, obviously you've got a number of options, but what are they called? Like, how do you make those options in the menu of your page?
Is that the layout, like what you want it to look like?
So if you could just maybe share yours, and I'll just give you an example of what I mean. And I know it'll sound so simple and silly, but
no, it's not, but it's honestly like it is hard. It is hard stuff to get our head around. Yeah. So
it's just
sorry. Just
finding what things are called. They just seem to be called different things. And then so where you've got home, podcast notes, contents 2024 membership.
That's your navigation bar.
Yep. And then where do you change that?
In settings. So I'll do it here. The only reason I go to this newer one is because it's less overwhelming, because I've built loads of stuff up over time. So in your settings page for the publication, so just do that again. So you'll just have one here. And when you go here, it's going to take you into your settings and you're going to click settings there. That means you're in your publication settings. And then you could try, and it doesn't always work. Yeah, so it's worked. So I've typed NAV and then it's brought up navigation. And so I've already got this set when the replays are ready. People will just get all the replays in a tag there, but I've hidden it with the little I. And so if you want a new one, you just literally do the title and you put whatever the link is in there.
Okay, so you need to have, so when the link is something you've already created, or this is something totally
the URL new? So when I was saying earlier on about that being prime real estate, I often choose to use like a page, a Substack page rather than a post, but everything's got a link on Substack. So whether it's a note, a page, your about page, you know, it's all got links there. But if I wanted to do a new page here, so you just go new page, and it's the exact same composer tool as a post, but it means that it's a page and then you can get the URL of that and you're not sending it out anywhere. Obviously with a post, you're publishing it to Substack, whereas a page, you're just publishing it. It doesn't get sent anywhere. Nobody sees it unless they click onto your publication or they click onto the URL of it. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's probably the reason why I can't do anything, is because I've only done one post so far and I haven't made any pages or anything. So it's just not giving me any option of what to add. To
go into that. And so if you published a page, like say if we went ahead and published this now, it's going to give us, you know, those options. And then once we publish it, we're going to get the URL here that you would just copy and paste. So that it could be your contents, it could be what to expect, start here, it could be anything with the navigation bar. It depends how you want to set your publication out.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Good.
Right, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, guys, we'll probably wrap up unless anybody's got anything else burning. And then I will see you in September when we're going to do paid conversion, pricing it all out, all that good stuff, and then planning for the rest of the year and getting really clear about what we want to do when and what's working and all that good stuff. So I'll say bye for now and thank you so much. See you again really soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.